Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chat. It is, of course, the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with cars? I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm John Bishop.
It's true, he is. I feel like that's always my joke after you say your name, is it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I only have so many jokes in this world, so I don't know. Y'all listen to this, so you know that. Anyway, John, what are we talking about today?
Of course.
What are you opening? Stop opening it. It's not good for mic sound. You're opening your fruit snacks you mentioned.
I am. They're so good. And of course, as we do have a Goofums podcast about Disney Pixar's Cars, and we are two extremely qualified to talk about this type of subject people, we are, of course, talking about economy.
In this economy?
Yes, because
I'm
of
probably
this
going to
economy.
say that a lot of times throughout this episode.
That's fair. As you mentioned before, you've only got so many jokes.
Yeah, it fits right in. Why do people listen to this show? Anyway, that's cool, John. So, like how the cars spend money, and if they have money, you always seem to say that they don't, which feels very unsupported in my opinion, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah, those things.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to talk about question from Liz. This week, question from Liz is a segment where we get questions. We both have significant others named Liz, and we don't tell you which one. That's the joke. The question from Liz: what did Cars call the Great Depression?
Oof. Okay. Sort of
which my response was immediately probably just the Great Depression.
Yeah, probably just the Great Depression. That's where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I asked and answered. If we want to make a car pun, I'm going to leave that up to you because you've had longer to think about it than I have.
She did immediately say the Great Car-pression, so I guess there's that.
Okay, well, not the best, but I'm sure it's just as good as us sitting here for 30 seconds only to come up with the Great Car-pression. So that's great. I love it.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. All right, so the reason I mentioned that question from Liz is because one reason I thought now would be a good time to talk about this is just because in our world the economy is kind of crazy right now. So let's talk about cars in regards to that, so we can talk about a very sad, impactful thing in a less sad or impactful way.
There we go. Also, you said, let's talk about cars in regards to that. My mind did go in regards to that, which doesn't really work. But I thought, again, I only have so many jokes. I should say the new ones that come in my brain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So, John, I feel like Is There Money is like a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I feel like pretty plainly, obviously there's money in this universe for a few reasons. But you always say there isn't, so I'm going to give you the floor to say that now.
All right.
If you would like to continue doing so.
Now that I have the floor, I'd like to present to the board. They don't.
Okay, why is that?
Did you ever see money?
They talk about money a lot, but no, I guess you don't see physical legal tender. No.
You ever see a situation in which money would be seen?
Like an exchange of legal tender for a good or service?
Like just general scenes in which people are in shops or in restaurants or anything that just in general would require money.
Yeah, you do. He does go to shops, and they do seem to give him lots of things for free. That's a
Mm-hmm.
decent point.
And just one other thing. They mention the manufacturer a lot. You ever see the manufacturer?
No, but that seems to go against your point.
What I'm saying is there are concepts in this universe that they have that, like, whether or not they are real, it might be something very different to them than it is to us. So, like, they might have an economy, but I don't think they have money.
Oh, yeah. And I will say, I'm not sure they have literal physical dollar bills in this universe,
But
but
your
they
biggest
have,
piece of evidence against my claims that they have no money is the quote about saving up all her pennies.
yes, which I would argue just implies that she was saving up money in like a digital, like the same way that I save up money because I don't have physical money ever, like in a bank account somewhere that is represented in the same sort of system we have. And I don't know, maybe they evolved from humans. So they have the term pennies referring to, gotta stop with those fruit snacks. Uh, but they have the term pennies to refer to a single cent. I think that they have dollars and cents. They just don't have literal pieces of currency. I think it's all electronic, probably, is my guess.
You see, my biggest thing is that I'm almost certain they don't have physical money. That's my biggest claim there is that whether or not they have any sort of economy, I don't think they have physical tender.
Then I feel like we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, but when I say they ain't got no money, you're all like, "No, they've got money."
Yeah, because you've never explained it at length before.
We've talked about how they might have Bitcoin before.
Yeah, but I am almost certain that I've always stuck by like, no, I'm not sure that they have physical dollar bills, but I think they have money.
I feel like many times you've said something along the lines of they probably have physical money. Just because I remember that conversation about how she was saving up her pennies, and you were talking about how well she does specifically say pennies.
Which is fairly good evidence for that. And John, honestly, I don't remember what I said. So let's
Okay,
just agree that I'm right all the time and move on.
okay, but only
Okay.
because it's your birthday yesterday.
It Yeah, it was my birthday yesterday. Thanks. Now, like we talked about before the show started, you can sing me happy birthday since you were so excited about doing it on the show.
Okay.
Mm, perfect. Yeah, good. Good call. Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
What
People
it,
dying, people crying, pain and sorrow everywhere. Happy birthday. It's your birthday.
what
Happy
in the
birthday.
hell was that? That had to have been a reference to something I didn't understand, right? That was not something from the deep recesses of your mind. Please tell me.
Lucas, what would you say if I were to tell you that I thought of that immediately and on the spot?
I wouldn't be very happy about that, John. I didn't like I didn't like that.
Now, what if I were to tell you that your options to how to believe what that is A, I thought of I thought of it on the spot, or B, that is the old Happy Birthday song that I used to hear every time I went to church.
It's not great, but I mean, uh
Which
I
one would you
prefer
rather
that.
it be? Okay, because that is what it is.
Oh yeah, I've looked it up. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
No, yeah, I looked up happy birthday people dying everywhere. It's apparently the birthday dirge is what people call it. No,
Oh,
these are different lyrics. There are lots of lyrics to this.
okay. I didn't know there was a thing like that at all. See, what it was
Man,
is I went to Harmony's youth group, and every Wednesday they would sing the birthday song. And the birthday song, their joke was, well, someone owns the rights to the actual birthday song, Happy Birthday, so we have to make up our own. So they made that one up.
hmm. I went to Harmony youth group a few times. So that sounds about right.
Yep. Ah. What a
All right,
strange and
thanks.
wonderful time. All right.
Yeah,
So,
and
so
I just
they,
want to mention this since you mentioned birthday, and this is a cars podcast about cars. Liz, for my birthday, got me a waffle maker. That's a Lightning McQueen waffle maker. It makes waffles in the shape of like his tires, which is very good. They even say Lightyear on them, like the brand, the fake car brand, tire brand in cars. It's very good. She's very good at birthday presents.
all right, I'm clicking on this link. Oh boy,
There are like a lot of lyrics to it, right?
the Mongolian birthday chant.
I also saw the Barbarian birthday chant. Yeah, it's weird. I don't think it actually is the same thing as yours.
Kill the women, but save the sheep.
Yeah, it gets a. There are some parts of it that aren't great later in it. If I see.
Though
No,
you're
I
turning
didn't see it.
29, age to you is like fine wine. So you're 29 again. Don't tell lies to your good friend.
Yeah, yeah, it's something.
Okay.
I'm 25, not 29. Internet lyrics.
Got him.
Ha, that'll teach them, I guess. You want to talk about money in cars?
Let's talk about money in cars. I have a lot of change in my cars usually because whenever I get
Okay.
paid back from when I use cash at any sort of fast food establishment, I tend to just put the change like in the area that would be for like cups and whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
I recently had a weird situation where several times I've had what I can only assume is a homeless person sneak into my car and then just stay there for a few hours. And they'll take something or another and they'll leave. And sometimes they'll take the change, sometimes they won't. And that's just strange to me.
Yeah, that's
Once,
fair enough, man. Yeah. Okay.
once they took my sunglasses case, like the commemorative little bag for Guardians of the Galaxy, but they didn't take the sunglasses.
Were the sunglasses in it?
Yes.
So, oh, okay. So they took the sunglasses out and then just took the case?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very strange. Okay, yeah, that's.
And there was another time in high school that was even more strange to me. I had my backpack and some books in my car. I left it unlocked one night, which is something you should never do when you live near people who go to school with you or your brother. So,
That's fair.
uh, someone got into my car, took a CD or two, took my backpack, and I was just really sad and frustrated because someone stole my backpack and all my books and whatnot. And one thing they left behind was a bag full of fundraiser money.
It's not great.
It was like $29 maybe, not all that much, but they left the chocolate bars and they
Yeah, I was gonna
left
say the
the
chocolate
money.
bars.
Yeah, they left those things, but they stole my backpack with all like my books and whatnot. And that's strange enough. But then I get a picture on Facebook, I think, that someone posts, and it's a picture of something I drew once in one of my notebooks, and they just like, "Hey, what's this?" And then I find out that like my books had just been emptied out onto the street somewhere else in my neighborhood, and the only thing I couldn't find was my backpack. The backpack itself. And then like
Hmm.
2 weeks later, I see someone in my high school wearing my backpack.
It's not a good plan for this master thief who gave you $29 and some chocolate.
I have to assume that someone saw the backpack, was like, "Oh, I know someone who needs a backpack," and then they took the backpack and like, well, I don't want to just carry all this stuff around, so they emptied it somewhere else in the neighborhood, and then they just gave the person the backpack because I can't assume the person wearing it was aware that it was just taken. It's weird. The whole
Yeah,
situation's weird.
that is a weird situation. I
So
did want
that's
to
my
ask.
tangent about money in cars.
It's pretty good. It was a pretty good little story. I did want to ask, do you think those chocolate bar fundraisers were like universal? Or was that like a central Kentucky thing, you think?
I have to assume it's universal.
But I remember the chocolate bars had the word Kentucky printed on them.
That's
So like,
true for high school, but in like when we went to Garth, there were things like that, and it was just like M&Ms and Snickers. It was weird.
No, yeah, I'm talking about like specifically that company of
That
like
company almost certainly is specific to like Central Kentucky, but I assume the idea of hey, let's get local chocolate bars and sell them is probably a universal thing.
yeah, it was always very easy to get chocolate bars in high school, is what we're saying. You gave
Mm-hmm.
someone $1, almost. You almost had to know someone who was selling chocolate bars at any given point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the cars sell chocolate bars? Let's
I
turn it
sure
right
as
back
heck
around.
hope not.
Let's.
Where would they keep them?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one, yeah, yeah. Honestly, but yeah. Okay. Where would they keep them? Just on their hood, I guess. That doesn't make sense. I don't have an answer for you, John, and we both know I'm not going to. So I want to transition to asking you a question that I also don't have an answer to, but I'm asking you, so you have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've both said that we think money is electronic somehow.
Well, I
S-
will say
So,
I'm of the weird and I understand controversial opinion that it's likely that if they do have money, it's virtual, but I'm still
okay.
not of the opinion that they necessarily have money.
Okay, no. 10 minutes ago, you said that no, I think they probably have money, and you've always construed it as I think they don't have money. And that's misrepresenting my argument. But now you've just come out and said, no, I think if they have money, but I don't really think they have money. So what's up, bud? What's the
I
truth?
don't think I said that they have money, it's just digital. I'm kind of neutral-ish, but leaning towards they might not have money. But I'm of the opinion that if they do have money, it's almost certainly digital, but they might not have money.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'm gonna let it go because I made you let it go earlier. Uh, but let's say they have money because at the very least I think they have money and you're pretty close to thinking they have money. Okay? Sure.
I could go either way, so for the purposes of this, yes.
Sure. This has been a long road to get to this question that's not that important. But what do you think a transaction looks like then? Lightning goes to some town that he's not like full of kind people who gives him white walled tires for free. How does
Hmm.
he procure a good or service?
Huh. You know how credit cards, debit cards, and the like have chips in them now, and you can have like your phone, you can pay by just placing it onto a sensor?
Yes.
It's gotta be like that. There's some sort of chip in them, and
Hmm.
that chip just can transfer money. They just have to think about the amount they want.
Huh. Well, I feel like they could, if they have some sort of cash register like thing, it's not like we have to type in how much money we want to give on our end. Usually it's the cashier. We'll put that in and then we'll be like, yes, this is correct. And we'll swipe it. So I don't think they would need that sort of thought control with it unless they need to like Venmo or like do a non specified payment like that. But yeah, I think something similar to that, like because they can't just carry around a credit card.
I mean,
Gosh, they can't carry anything, and that makes everything very hard.
even with the other way, it's I don't know if they have registers that we've seen per se. So I would have to imagine that even if it's the other way around of they don't select how much they want to pay, it's the other person, it would still be they have to think about how much they want to charge someone.
We've seen like sort of computers with Holly Shiftwell though,
Yeah, but you
so
have to
like,
assume that there are plenty of places, especially in Radiator Springs, that don't have any sort of fancy computer
but they have like thought controlled money chips in them.
ingrained into their cybernetic bodies, of course.
You think Toe Mater has an advanced computer chip in him that he can control with his thoughts? That you think they're like okay, this is a bigger question that
Before
goes back
that,
to
before we move on from that question, of course not. He's a sorcerer. He
yeah,
just uses
okay, yeah,
magic.
you're absolutely right. I apologize. You're absolutely correct. But are you saying this is something they have implanted in them, or that they're born or built with originally?
That one. That it's in the body when they get the body.
That's dangerous for children to have that.
Maybe
To
there's
have that
some sort
ability.
of time delay on it.
Yeah, okay. Like I know I get why you say money doesn't exist or may not exist because like gosh, none of this makes any sense.
It's really hard
It
to
just doesn't.
imagine an economy in this universe.
But there are like rich people in it, and like the lemons in Cars 2 are incredibly rich, and part of their like motivation is that they sell oil and they want to make people afraid of biofuel, so they keep buying their oil and they keep staying rich. So like
Well,
some sort of economy exists. I know, John.
my
I
thought.
don't like this episode.
Okay, so we've talked about how there's the possibility of weird techno-organic virus that infected cars slash the human race and fused them together, and pretty much the universe of cars is how it is because it's the like shadow of the former universe. So Earth is the way it is in the Cars universe because they vaguely remember it being that way. So maybe wealthy cars are just wealthy because people expect them to be. They have power
Hmm.
and whatnot, all based solely on the idea of culturally, that's what people expect it to be.
It's like they're ghosts almost, like how a ghost is often portrayed as like going through the motions of its old
Hmm.
life, even though like some aspects aren't there. That's why people say ghosts walk through walls a lot, is because there used to be doors there,
Hmm.
but instead it's society where the wealthy are above the rest of the world, which is a sad way for ghosts to live.
Yep. But I don't know if it's even so much like ghosts, so much as it's more like chimpanzees. Have you ever
Ooh, I
heard
know what
of?
you're going for.
Yeah, there's that one experiment where they would have a ladder in a room and a banana at the top of the ladder and a bunch of chimpanzees. And every time a chimpanzee would try and go and climb the ladder to get the banana, like the sprinklers would turn on and cause them discomfort. So it got to a point where anytime a monkey would try and get the banana, they all reacted poorly and would start like fighting that monkey so that it wouldn't do that. And they kept doing this until a point where they would switch out the chimpanzees. And they got to a point where absolutely none of the chimpanzees who originally experienced it, any of the chimpanzees who knew what would happen if you got the banana, all of them were gone. It was just a bunch of new chimpanzees who had all learned the behavior but not the reason behind it. And it's this thing where things happen because people expect them to happen, not because there's a good reason for it.
So the moral of that story is that chimpanzees are stupid.
Yes. Just like
No,
humans.
obviously, no. Yeah, well, yes, obviously, I just wanted to insult chimpanzees for some reason. Uh, but yeah, I think that's a pretty apt comparison, especially since, as we know, ghosts do exist in the Carsverse.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that there's no actual economy and it's just all completely based on expectation of position and power. Because, again, like you've pointed out, they just give people things. Like Lightning, he is this fancy, very successful race car driver, and this extremely, what I would assume, wealthy person. You never see him buy anything. His friends just give him stuff all the time, which wouldn't make any sense
That,
because as a wealthy individual, it would only make sense for him to want to pay them so that they can sustain themselves because he's got plenty and he doesn't need to worry about it.
but at the same time, Lightning McQueen's a very privileged young man who may not even think about that. And like the rich getting free things is like a definite thing that happens in our universe. People give rich people stuff for free, seemingly because they're rich, powerful, or famous all the time.
Yeah, like there was a something I watched where it was Lil Dicky, and he was talking about how he just got free Pumas because he mentioned once that he liked Puma.
Mm. Okay. I assume you're talking about the clothing or shoe brand, not
Yes, not Tiger
real
King
Pumas.
style. He now owns
Okay.
his own exotic zoo.
Yeah, I was about to say I have been watching too much Tiger King because I was like, oh man, he's a big cat person. That's a shame. I don't know anything about Little Dicky, so I didn't have any preconceived notions of him. But I just want there to be less big cat people in this world.
Yep. No, he likes the shoes.
Okay, cool. Good for him. I don't know any. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's a thing. There's a Ben Folds song actually called "Free Coffee" that like the thesis of the song is like when he was poor, no one cut him any breaks, but now that he's rich, he gets free coffee. That's just the same thing said again, but I wanted to give an example myself.
Mm-hmm. All right. Uh,
Yeah,
Now's as good as time as any to talk about today's not very fun fact of the day.
I I hope it's not another COVID-19 based one. They've all been COVID-19 based
Well,
recently.
those were very not fun. This one's a not very fun.
Got it. I never catch it. You're absolutely right.
All right, so this one is an article on Eurogamer.net, and it's talking about how, uh, this whole COVID 19 thing's happening. And one thing that a lot of North Americans are complaining about during this pandemic is that they can't get a Nintendo Switch. And
Yeah.
this article is all about how one big reason for that is because people have made bots to purchase up all of the Nintendo Switches so that they can sell them for double the price, especially with the specialty Animal Crossing themed bundle.
Yeah. That sounds about right,
Yep.
actually.
So hashtag first world problems of, oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine being at home. I just need a video game system that I want.
No, yeah, it's absolutely true. John, did you know that in Animal Crossing there is a like version of the stock market?
Is it the turnip thing?
Oh, it's the turnips, John. It's the stalk market is
Oh
what it
boy.
is,
Which,
which is very good.
funny enough, brings me to my fun fact of the day. Uh,
Fun, go for it.
since the stimulus packages have arrived, stocks for Tesla have just shot back up.
Good, probably.
Yep. Like,
Yeah,
if you check 5 days ago, it was significantly down and it's gone much higher than it has been. It's great.
good. That's probably had a very positive economic force on a lot of people's like retirements and stock portfolios and whatnot. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about
Yeah.
car economy. I'm like, my theory about it is that
E-car,
there's a
not
good
me.
chance that it's all based on expectation and the idea of, oh, this person's supposed to be powerful, so they are. And even with all that, there's the idea of, okay, so the the wealthy man in Cars 3, he became wealthy by selling mud flaps. That's his
That's
thing.
true.
But what if the way that worked is he sold mud flaps by getting mud flaps and giving them away, and he just happened to be very good at giving them away. And because a lot of them were receiving mud caps or mud flaps from the same guy, they assumed, oh, that is good businessman. So he just started giving more away from whoever was giving them to him. And then people assumed, yes, good businessman. When that happens, they become powerful.
Okay, I could see that. And I could also see I'm still it's been stressing me out because I can't figure out how it would work. I still think money has to exist somehow. But if it doesn't, it could also be just like a straight barter system.
It
Uh,
could be.
you know, he gave, I don't know, some contractors a bunch of mud flaps and whatnot, and they built the Lightning McQueen training facility or whatever it is in Cars 3, and so on and so forth.
Could
And they
be.
built his home, and he's allowed to stay there, and I think that could. I mean, obviously, that's not how it works for Lightning in Radiator Springs because he is not giving these people anything.
I mean, in Radiator
Uh,
Springs, the idea, I think they even stated it specifically, was, oh, we'll give you these things and it'll be great publicity for us.
yeah, that was also something I was going to bring up. Is that the big issue in Cars One is like that the economy is in the toilet in Radiator Springs. No one comes, so no one buys anything. And I think they even say that like if people come, then they will buy things, which the town is saved because people start visiting and their shops get traffic again. And even if we are assuming that money doesn't exist, I still think money has to exist. But even if, then them selling things is good for them somehow.
I I agree that if this is any sort of actual society, of course some sort of economy has to exist, but I'm really fond of this weird idea of this semi-robotic, somewhat simplistic society that replicates ours. There's a chance that the only reason things are the way they are is because of the idea of ingrained expectation. And I like the idea that, oh, uh, we don't have money. We give away items because that's what we would do. And then people who give away items, they're the wealthy people, right? So we give things to the wealthy people because they're wealthy, and then they have more things because they're wealthy. And it's just this weird, everything is based on expectation that doesn't make sense without money, but they don't use money.
I think that's a good theory. I don't know, man. There has to be money. There are sponsorships and jobs. People do things for a living, and I'm not, again. I'm not saying yours is wrong. It's just I don't know that I'm going to be convinced that that's what I think. I think yours is a perfectly good explanation. I'm just not sure I'm going to be convinced.
Well, honestly, I don't know if there is much to convince on this one. I think it's just the idea of, I mean, if this makes sense, there's an economy. If it doesn't, then my bizarre theory of just replicated expectation, it's only a possibility. Like there's no way to confirm it. It's just something that
Yeah,
if this then this, so it might work. I guess all I can hope is that I can convince someone that this is a possibility within this universe rather than what it is.
which I would say you've done with me. I think it's possible. I don't think it's right, but I think it's possible.
Okay. Then I've done as good a job as I could ever have hoped to.
And that's the end of the episode. It's not. We usually go longer than this, but that would be a good place to end it. But we're
All
not
right.
going to. We're going to keep talking. Specifically, I want to talk about, I mentioned it a second ago, jobs. People
Mhm.
have those.
Do they though?
Ugh, John, come on. Yes, they have jobs. At the very least, they do tasks. Dusty Crop Hopper is a crop duster. He does this for some societal reason, whether it be he is allowed to continue living where he does because he does these things, or whether it is a straight like monetary transaction. He has a career that he does abandon
Mhm.
twice, but he has a job.
Uh-huh. See, the thing is there are plenty of situations where you can say, "Okay, this person is this job, this person is this job." But again, it seems an awful lot to me like most of the people who have what I would consider working class jobs are forklifts. And other than that, it seems like a lot of people who just give away resources or have hobbies. Like, there are plenty of people who seem to be in the entertainment or racing industry. There are a lot of forklifts doing manual labor and things. There's the crop hopper who is a crop hopper because he was in a crop hopper body. There's the tanker, who is a tanker because he's got a tanker body. A lot of these positions are based on not even just expectation, but like what you're born as is what you do.
Which is like the idea of cars or planes. He was born into this position, but he wanted to do something else,
Mm-hmm.
so he did it. But everyone was shocked that he did it. Just troubling.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's shocked that this plane, who should be what he was born to be, is doing something else that technically he can do.
Are, so, are you saying Dusty Crophopper did not get paid or compensated in any way for cropping dust?
See, in the things we've watched, they mention things like, "Oh, you'll start at your old pay" and something like that. But there are never any specifics that have me convinced that they're not just saying these things because that's what they think they should say. Because what's one good reason not to go off and live your dreams?
Well, he does go off and live his dreams.
Exactly. What's one good reason us humans don't do that?
Monetary concerns.
Mm-hmm. Responsibilities, needing to pay to eat and live, supporting your family, just so many reasons, all of which seem to revolve around money. But what does Dusty do? He just up and leaves and does it.
This could have been a great personal risk, though. Maybe this is a B plot we never saw in planes. Is
It
that
could have been, but having watched that movie, they did not think about that.
they didn't think about anything in planes, and we both know it. It's a bad movie. It's the worst of the five.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this seems to be a universe where you do what is expected and you're able to do other things. It's just really weird because that's not what you're expected to do. And in a world
Yeah, but
where
like,
everyone just does what they're expected to do, then an economy isn't really necessary.
yes, but like, I don't know. I feel like you could make planes with people and just have like a farmer who like races in his off time, I guess, who has like no family that we see. And if he lives somewhere, it's like on the farm or something, or like something that like if he loses, it'd be bad, but like he wouldn't be losing much to begin with. And then we see he takes this risk, and everyone is like, "Oh, this farmer can't race. He's a farmer who hasn't, got the team or the skills or the ability, or he has not trained." Like, I don't know. I think that people would still be shocked. It would be bad of people to be shocked, maybe, but translated to people, I think it would still be like a shocking thing and would still be a plausible reality.
See, the thing is, you added in there a small detail or two where he actually is concerned about losing what he has. It never is addressed that he's going to lose what he has. He's never worried
No,
about
but
it.
I was saying that like if the movie never shows him having a family, if the movie never shows his housing arrangements and he just goes off and does it, like the people may assume those things that like, oh, his housing isn't something he's super concerned about. Oh, he doesn't have a family to support. So he can do these things, which I'm saying is probably the same reason Dusty could do these things if an economy exists.
Yeah, but in that sort of movie where you replace it with humans, you would definitely expect someone to say something about, oh, think of all the things you might be losing. Whereas whenever anyone expressed concern in this film, they didn't express concern about him losing anything, just him, like, with the idea of him not winning. It's, oh, you're not going to do this. Aren't you going to be embarrassed? You're a crop hopper. You're not a racer. You're not going to win. You're going to lose. Not anything to do with, aren't you worried about, money at all? That being said, in any of the movies, have they ever expressed that there would be monetary compensation for victory?
I will say that Lightning wants to win the Piston Cup because that will get him sponsored by Dynaco, which I think implies monetary reward. But no, I don't think it's been explicit.
Even with that, his dream is about a paint job.
That's true. His dream is about being painted blue, but like it also in his dream sequence it reflects a changed lifestyle in which he is basically rich. He has a cool house, is in movies, women flock to him. He rides in a helicopter, etc.
It's
But
all about expectation.
John, real quick, uh, I will say I'm pretty sure, and this could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think there's a line from the other crop duster who is, I guess, Dusty's boss in Planes, where he's like, "Ah, well, when you lose, I'll be here, and you can start crop dusting again," or something like that. So
Hmm.
I think they include a line that his job is secure even if he loses, which you've said like yes, this secures my argument, but I don't think it does. I think it secures mine.
I mentioned that earlier, and I believe you're referring to the deleted scene in which the person is talking about, oh, well, you can't race anymore because your engine block. And I think it is in Cars, not Cars, Planes, Fire, and Rescue. And he's talking about how,
Hmm.
oh, you can't race anymore. Well, I'm still needing a crop duster. Of course, you'll start at your old rate. And he says things like that, but it's only after the career has come to a halt.
The fact that he was so quick to do it though makes me think that
He
that
desperately needs
Dusty,
someone to do that job.
well, one, yes, it's a important job to our society that Dusty has abandoned. Food production is very important, but he also that Dusty somewhere in his mind is like, old farmer. I'm not going to look up this character's name. I could care less about these minor characters from Planes, but he knows that his old boss would take him back, so he's wouldn't be too like monetarily insecure by taking this risk.
Maybe, maybe.
Fair enough, man.
Oh boy.
What were we saying? We were talking about jobs. We talked about Dusty a lot. Were there any other jobs I wanted to talk about? Do you think Red gets paid, or he just fights fires out of love or hatred for fires
Uh, Probably that one. He
because of
probably
who
just
he is?
hates fire.
Uh, God, I do too. Fire sucks, and if I was a fire truck, I'd kill it.
Fire
Uh,
bad.
hey, I'm glad somebody finally said it. Uh, I don't know, man. They have jobs. They just do. They have jobs. Not like several of them have shops, which is their own like entrepreneurial jobs. But like Mia and Tia at the end of Cars go and be waitresses for Flo. They work for Flo. And like Mac clearly works for Lightning in some capacity. And I don't know how he compensates him, but like careers and vocations and jobs are a thing. And I know you said that that was just like based on expectation, but I think they have to be compensated. Otherwise, they're just like indentured servants, and I don't like that.
See, it's not even indentured servants. It's just you kind of just do what everyone expects you to do. Like no one requires you to do it because clearly there was no one stopping Dusty from doing what he wanted to do. It's just everyone was surprised that he wasn't doing what he was expected to do. It was bizarre, the idea that, oh, this person isn't happy where he is, but that's where he's supposed to be.
It's like Moana.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a further point. It's just that sounds like the beginning of Moana, where they keep saying that to Moana. Uh, anyway, I've got. I'm gonna do the wiki quote now. I don't have a name for it of the day.
Give me that sad resignation of the day.
Oh, that's what I've been doing the whole time, bud. Uh, we're going over to worldofcarsdrivein.fandom.com/wiki/Dynaco. Going down to trivia. The first bullet says, "It," being the brand Dynaco, "it also appears in Toy Story and on a lighter in Wall-E," which like is one of those Pixar theory things, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Dynaco exists in multiple movies. It has different logos in some of them.
Neat.
In Cars, the logo is a T Rex. In Toy Story, it's an Apatosaurus. I don't know what an Apatosaurus looks like, but if you do, imagine that. And then apparently in Flo's V8 Cafe in Cars Land at Disney's California Adventure, the logo is a Stegosaurus.
Neat.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
What do you think the point of sponsorships are in your version where it's expectation based?
It's just this symbol of, oh, that means you're the best. You have this paint job because you are the best racer, and best racer is good. It's just like this symbol that people strive for because even in this world where there's expectation, it's ah, here is a way to show that you are the best at race car. It's if you win this race, then you get sponsorship, and sponsorship to represent it, you just get the paint job and everyone knows you're the sponsor.
Okay, I think they probably pay for things in return for the free publicity of being on the cars, much like in our universe. But that checks out for what you've been saying.
It's it's possible that this is just some weird socialist society where everyone just does what is expected of them and everyone just receives anything they need or anything that is expected to be given to them. It's just everything is taken care of according to what is expected.
Oh, John, you know me. You know I want it to be socialism,
I
but
don't think you want it to be
it
this socialism though, because this socialism is all about this strange expectation of you were born. It's like this eugenics thing of, oh, born to this, then this.
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not socialism, except in the fact that people are just provided for, which is nice. I like that, but there have been so many examples of like the lemons are not provided for, and the guy with the broken spine who we talked about last week was not provided for
But why
because
is it that the
I'm
lemons
no,
aren't
I'm
provided for?
John, I'm gonna say your part of the argument. It's because society sees them and expects them to be a lower class, so they expect they you say expectation 30 times about them not deserving it or whatever.
The lemons are lemons because they are specific. Well, in our world, they're a specific race. There's just
Yeah.
this race that everyone thinks of in this bizarre negative way, so they don't fix them. It's the same with the, I
Oof.
guess, rust horde.
Did you call them the Rust Horde?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you call them that? What did you base
Because
that on?
there's this giant gathering of cars that are all rusting to death.
No, yes, but why are they a it doesn't matter. Yes, the Rust Horde.
Yeah, it's just if you are this, then people give you this and expect this. If you ask for food and people expect, oh yeah, I should give them food, they'll give you food. But if you're a wealthy person, you can just ask for more because people think, ah, yeah, well, he gets what he wants because that. And why don't they fix the lemons? Because that's not what you do. You don't fix lemons. Lemons are the people you don't fix because they can't be fixed.
I don't know, man. I think there's money.
Again, like,
Again, you've been fairly
makes
convincing, and I
sense.
know that you. But I think there's probably money, and I think what we talked about earlier of like them having some sort of electronic way either built into them at birth or at some point later in life is probably how they do it. That's what I think. There are probably I don't. There is no evidence of there is probably evidence of there being banks. I just don't know it.
Yeah.
You know what? No, I'm going to look up bank on a Cars wiki. You keep going.
Uh, well, I I don't know what else to say.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Hostile Tank Takeover Bank uh, is the sponsor of Chick Hicks.
okay, but think about the idea of a bank that's named that on the nose of a name.
I know, John, but that means there are banks And what do banks do if there's not money?
The same thing as everything else. It's just, ah, we're just gonna kind of relax here because that's what we know of about banks is that they exist.
There's money. This sucks. There's money.
Lucas, it feels an awful lot like you want this to exist, like you want there to be money, because otherwise it's just this weird nonsense. But at the same time, they're both equally valid.
I know. So my position is just as valid as yours.
Sure, but you're not defending yours. You're just saying there's money because why wouldn't there be money?
I'm saying there's money because there's textual evidence where they talk about money, and there's banks, and there's jobs that would, under capitalism, which it certainly seems like they follow capitalism because there are stores and retail and sponsorships and commercials, that there would certainly need to be capital for there to be capitalism. I don't want it to be capitalism. I don't like capitalism very much, but it sure feels like capitalism from evidence that I have mentioned. Don't tell me I haven't given evidence.
Okay, I'm just saying there are plenty of things in this universe that are there but clearly aren't real exactly.
Oh, money's not real anyway in our universe. It's something we made up just like they did.
Okay. But that's like saying time doesn't exist because it's just a metric to measure uh, increase in entropy.
Time doesn't exist.
I mean, in a way it doesn't, but it does.
Yeah, that's the same for money. I'm oversimplifying things. I'm an American.
Okay. All right. How do they write checks?
I don't know why I've gotten so worked up this episode. It's been a while since I've gotten this worked up. How do they write checks? They don't.
They
They
don't.
have Venmo built into them, basically. So
Okay.
they do what you said. They don't.
Okay.
It's voice activated, or they have computers. They have computers, so they have to have ways to do wireless transfers.
Uh-oh. Someone's knocking on my door.
Hello?
Is it pizza? It's pizza.
Nice.
All right.
I'm probably going to keep this in.
Good. How did they order pizza?
We've seen computers, they use those. We've also seen them make phone calls, so they do that.
All right.
Don't ask me how they make pizza.
How
I
do they do
don't know.
tips?
That's not this episode. Same way, I don't. You do it during the order, and you don't do just cash tips. You just put it in on the website usually.
I gotta think of more. How do they flip coins to decide things?
They don't.
Okay.
If you gave me a second, I would also think of things to talk about.
Okay, do it.
You think they have any branded waffle makers?
Oh, hell yeah.
They're probably, you know what? I'm going to say that the exact one that Liz got me for my birthday exists in canon in the Cars universe because Lightning's very famous.
Or it's a foot
I don't like that very much. I understand
because it's
the line of
humans.
thought. No, I understand the line of thought. I just don't like a foot shaped waffle very much.
Okay.
It would be a good brand deal for Lightyear tires, too. Get some good publicity, positive messages, because, like, it's Lightning themed, but it's their tires that people are eating and associating with good waffle memories.
Mm-hmm. And
We
maybe they'll
should
think it'll make them
approach
go fast.
we should approach Goodyear in our universe and say we've got the perfect brand deal for you.
Absolutely.
I
Huh.
Liz and I own 4 different waffle makers now.
Liz and I own 4 different crockpots.
Do people just keep getting them for you? Is that, or have you gotten?
The fourth one, my mother was getting rid of it, and he's like, "Hey, do you want it?" It's like, "Sure," because I thought we didn't have one quite that large, and turns out we
Yeah,
did.
yeah. We don't have any just like normal waffle makers.
Okay.
The first one is a Mickey waffle maker because Liz likes Mickey a lot and Disney. The second one is also a Mickey waffle maker, but it's a different one. Both of these were gifts to Liz. The third one is a mini waffle maker that makes them shaped like snowflakes that I got for Christmas some year. We've never used it. The fourth one is the Lightning McQueen one that I just got for my birthday from Liz. So
Nice.
have a very varied waffle party if anyone wants to get in on that.
We have a regular waffle maker if you want some regular ones thrown in there.
Hey man, that's five. BYOS though.
Um,
You can figure this out. Oh, you can figure
Syrup.
this out, Johnny. Yep, there we
Syrup.
go. Okay, I know I said they don't exist. I still don't think they do. But car dollar bills. What does car George Washington look like printed on the car dollar bill? Does he have a wig? I think he has a wig
All
because
right.
of how they design characters in this universe.
I think his wig is going to be something like what Lightning wore when he was being Stanley,
Okay.
because the only hairpiece we've seen is just like a convertible top. So I imagine it's some sort of like just cloth covering that's going to go on top of a car, but a very, very old car, or maybe wagon at that point.
Ooh, he'd have weird wooden car teeth,
Mm hmm.
or actually like
Elephant.
ivory. Like what are they? Some
Yeah.
bone teeth, bone apple teeth. Uh, this one's gone weird.
Mm hmm.
Got weird, and like it's been weird the whole time, but it got weirder in the past like 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the like frustration burnout of you can't just say that they don't have an economy because that doesn't make any sense. I think that was possibly a reason for it. That and the pizza.
Oh yeah, the pizza was a turning point. No, the turning point was you saying how do they write checks, because that diffused all of the frustration because it was a very ridiculous question,
I just
which is
popped the
exactly what I
tires.
needed.
It's great.
Yes. Do we have anything else we want to say about this stock market? Stock market.
uh,
It
Stock
exists
market.
probably.
How does the stock market work?
In Animal Crossing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to genuinely tell you now. Okay, so every Sunday, a little warthog comes to your town. It's only in the morning. You got to get there before noon. Her name is Daisy May, and in the old games, her grandmother, Joan, used to do it, but that's neither here nor there. She will sell you turnips at a different price each week. This week, I got them for 90 bells a pop. That's a pretty good price. You want it to be below 100. You can still buy them if it's over 100, but like you want it the lower the better because then you get more turnips for less price, obviously. Then every day of the week there will be two different prices at Timmy and Tommy's store for them. One before noon, one afternoon, and basically you just want to try to find the best price you can so you make a profit off of them, because it can be below what you paid or it can be like 5 or 6 times what you paid. But the catch is you can't wait a full week afterwards or they'll go bad. So you have to sell them within a week. You also can't use time travel too much with them. Like if you set your switch's clock backwards, it will make your turnips go bad, or if you set it a full week forward, it'll make them go bad. So what people are doing is there are these big message boards where people are like, okay, I have turnips selling for 595 bells a pop here, and people will go and try to all go to their island via online play, and just make literally millions of bells, which are it's a lot in that game. If I understand you don't understand the scale of this economy if you don't play the game, but it's a lot. And some people are being crappy about it and demanding payment. Like if you go and do it, you should leave like people are calling them tips, but just like a thank you gift of some sort, whether it be bells or a piece of furniture or like a cool resource or something, but people are demanding it, and that's not very cool in my opinion. But anyway, you can make millions upon millions of bells doing this, and that's the stock market in a nutshell. There are there are things that will online that you can put in all of your prices, and it will guess what your price will be through for the rest of the week, and that's a pretty good tool. I use one,
Okay.
so that's pretty much that. Daisy May is a very cute little warthog too.
All right. That's all
Also, if
good.
your yeah, if your turnips go bad, you should place one on the ground and it will track ants, and that's one of the only ways to get ants for your museum.
Hmm. You need ants
You
for your
asked, man.
museum? No, now I'm just. Why do you want the ants, though?
Because the owl who runs it can't be bothered to catch any fish or bugs or dig up any of the fossils on the island himself. And he wants every bug. He wants just every bug and fish and fossil, including ants and flies and stuff. So you got to catch an ant and a fly and stuff. If you
Okay.
want flies, set out trash that you get from fishing.
All right. Is it true that there is a tarantula island?
Yes, I've been on it. It's very stressful, but if you dig like holes in a line, you can sort of dig a trench that the tarantulas can't get over, and then you can, but your net will reach over the trench, and they like to attack you, so they'll run at you, but they can't get over the trench, and then you get them with your net. They sell for 8,000 bells each. I made like 300,000 bells off of Tarantula Island.
What? Okay.
Yeah, it's very good.
That's
Yeah,
so strange.
yeah, it's a very strange game. I love it a lot.
Huh.
Well, that's got us to our usual time mark. Was that? That's kind of what I was trying to do.
I
You
also
want to
was just
stop talking
curious.
for a week? No,
All
yeah.
right, sure.
I doubt. I don't know how much or any of that, if only in our Cars podcast, but we'll see.
Okie doke. Happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, happy birthday to me and no one else. That's probably not true. Lots of people have birthdays every day. That's the fun fact. But thanks a lot for listening. We really do appreciate it. It's a good birthday present. A better one would be to do the stuff John's about to say.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Tell everyone about this show. Make sure they listen, download, and do that yourself on every possible outlet you can. Just keep it
Sure.
on replay overnight. And remember to email us at thekachat@gmail.com. Uh, we're we're happy to talk to you or about you if you want. Uh,
About you.
it's
That
whatever
made
you want.
sense. It just was a weird way to say it. Yeah.
All right, and
Yeah, and we're also on Twitter at the Kachat. Yeah, that's all the stuff we say. I'm Lucas Southworth.
I'm John Bishop,
Yeah, and until next time, don't forget to float like a Cadillac.
and sting like a beamer.